itself, I have explained the definition of the kernel. Okay, so we have two types of kernel. Okay, one is the monolithic kernel, another one is the microkernel. Okay, so first I will have a discussion with this monolithic kernel. So first we will see the first type of kernel. Okay, and again you can imagine that whenever we have a RAM, that is we will call as a main memory, there are many component of operating system will be loaded into this main memory. With that, the first component we try to load from a secondary memory to primary memory is the kernel. So the kernel is the thing which will be available as in the form of program. Those program by default, once the system is in off stage, it will be there in the hard disk. While the process of booting, there are many component of operating system will be taken from a secondary memory to primary memory. That process we will call as a booting, and with that movement, the first thing we are moving from a secondary memory to primary memory is called as a kernel. So other than that kernel, we are also moving the other part of the operating system. That's why whenever in the subject of operating system, the first level understanding you're supposed to have is the different management the operating system have: a resource hardware component management, file management, memory management, input output management. So each and every management you have a set of functionality techniques, how the technique will work. So this is what process management. Hmm? So under the process we have a thread management. Those are all the main component that are associated with this operating system. Okay, so with those component will be how those component will be controlled. You may ask the next question. Okay sir, as you can say that the process hardware component management, you are trying to manage with the operating system, the memory, and we are storing the file and retrieving the file management. Okay, and you can ask about the input output hardware devices management, and you can think about this other thread process. So we have a process, input output memory, file. These are all the different components, and we are trying to manage how the operating system will generally manage those hardware components. Is there any other thing will be further associated or between these management hardware to hardware by operating system? Yes, that's why we bring the concept is called as the drivers. I think every device we have a drivers, right? Input output we have a separate driver. If you have a Bluetooth USB, so input output device separate driver. We have output speaker, we have a separate driver, and we have a memory management separate driver. That's why we have a separate drivers. So again those drivers are what? Again those drivers are the software component. So with the help of those driver, the operating system will interact with those components. Okay, and they will manage that component. That's why we have those different management are associated with the operating system. Why exactly we need the operating system to manage that? Who actually need it? Because you wanted to interact with those component, no, you cannot able to directly contact with that. One of the other ways, somebody will be there in between to make us a bridge to convey your communication to that particular hardware. That's the reason we are using this something is called as a operating system. Okay, in one word you can understand that this is the translator. Okay, so in the programming languages you studied many translator. Likewise in the hardware and software we have something is called as a translator. Whatever we are requested, it try to convey to the hardware, and whatever the hardware produced to us, try to convey to us. Okay, so that is a primary perspective. Why I have this discussion, the global discussion, is there are many components are associated with the operating system. With that, one of the component is the kernel that will be loaded in our main memory at first whenever we are performing the operation of booting. First point. Second, if you think about this kernel, it will generally classify into two categories. Okay, so one is the monolithic kernel, another one is the microkernel. So what way I can able to understand these two? Okay, so first I will come to this monolithic kernel. As you can see, the monolithic kernel is a concern. We have the powerful abstraction of underlying hardware. What is that meaning? Powerful abstraction of underlying hardware. Very simple. You can imagine from this picture. Whenever there is a user request, the user request is all about many components. The user request is all about the resource, The user request is all about the input output. The user request is all about the memory component. The user request is all about the file system. There are different requests which has been made by user. Whenever which has been made, that's why you can imagine this. That's why you can imagine this RAM. Always complete your life whenever you are using the computer, you can imagine this. Okay, here the space of the RAM is partially allocated for those components. Okay, and here there is a space we have allocated for the application. Okay, that's why both will be there in the same place. Whenever there is a request from the user, that will be informed to the computer from this space only. So from this space, the thing which is available in the same space, that is the kernel component, the operating system component will receive our input and inform to the corresponding hardware. Once the response has been done, which will be received and informed to us. That's why here you can see that this is a RAM space. Okay, so there we have a different user query and we have a bridge to connect it with those hardware component. That bridge here I called as this kernel. See, 1 minute. Okay, the bridge I can call as the kernel. So what the kernel will do, or what the meaning of monolithic kernel? Whenever I can say it is a monolithic kernel, it will have a powerful abstraction. What is that meaning? The different management available in the computer will be solely controlled with a single kernel. Then those type of kernel I can call as a monolithic kernel. Think about it. The complete operating system service are compiled as single space or a single program. Then I can call those program, or generally the kernel is a program, right? Then those kernel I can call as the monolithic kernel. Whereas the application run on this user mode and they can only perform the request. Okay, so the complete response will be made with respect to the program available in the monolithic kernel. So all the services will be solely handled by kernel itself. Okay, so this type of kernel even will handle the resources also. Okay, and some example of these kernels are these operating system. These operating system will use this monolithic kernel. Now you can imagine that, okay sir, what is the problem? Operating system is the a responsible person to interact with our application software with the hardware. By the way, they are using one software is called as a system software, right? So there are two software components are involved. All our applications in terms of application software, where this could be interacted with the hardware component, then that interaction could be done with the other software is called as a system software. That is we will call it as an operating system. With that operating system to handle explicitly the user request and handling those resources, we have a separate programming component is called as a kernel. Then if that kernel will having the control of all the services in the computer, then is there any problem? Maybe you can ask the question as a problem perspective. First you have to understand the working scenario. Yes, I can understand the working scenario. Now having this facility, do we have any problem? Then why actually I can come up with the question, because if this is the scenario, then why do we have another kernel? Definitely there may be a problem. So now we will explain how the microkernel will handle or how it will look like. Then we will see what is the problem with that, because the last side is all about the limitation with the microkernel. And before we can move to the microkernel, we have to even understand what is the problem with the monolithic kernel. So both the questions answered in this PPT. Okay, so first, okay, so this is the monolithic kernel working scenario. Okay, let's find. In that way, we will understand this. What is the merit and demerit, we will discuss later. Come to the microkernel. Okay, as you can see, the microkernel, from the figure itself, you have some one clarity. What clarity? Here also it is a set of program only, but it will have the minimum level of abstraction. Doesn't mean that small size. It will have a one set of or specific task only. Then what is the meaning of specific task? What task it will actually have? That maybe you can raise the next level of question. Say for example, if you take the microkernel, it will provide a small set of hardware abstraction. It means it cannot take all the control of the services provided by operating system. It will be reserved or restricted only for handling some tasks, say for example memory management, or we can call it as a file management, or we can call it as a input output management. So this different type of things. Okay, but now the scenario is how this will work. It means it will take the responsibility of only resource management, especially the overall control. Now the each and every resources are put it into separate component. The components are called as, we will call it as a server, because in the diagram you can see there are something is called as an internal and external server. It will put it those whole stuff, instead of having the whole stuff, splitted those stuff and put it into separate component, and the overall link alone it will keep with that. Okay, so then that's why I can say that the minimal part of operating system run on kernel mode. Okay, then what about the other part? For other part will be completely available in the user mode. That's why here you can see the bridge. Previously the user will get the request and that will completely handled by the kernel. Now for the user request also have the interface server. The user request also have a device drivers. So here itself this place itself I can handle. It means that the operating system will not completely depend on kernel. So it will keep those services available inside the kernel in the monolithic, put it into separate component. Okay, and those stuffs are dealt with before going to the kernel in the user mode itself. Once those things are handled here, only the work which we have allocated for the kernel, that alone we will go for it. That's why here what is the difference between these two? It means whenever there is a change in one part of the thing handled with this monolithic kernel, then it will affect the whole program in this monolithic kernel. There are 4 components are there. With respect to 4 component, I have an interaction, I have built my program. Whenever if you want to do some updation with this component, then that updation you have to update in the all other components also. That information you supposed to update the all other components also. That is the problem, because you can think you want to completely, you have written a code and put it to this, and whenever you are doing some updation, that could be reflected or could be create the huge impact in the previous code. You have to rebuild this kernel, but this is not the case in the microkernel, because those components put it into separate device. The kernel will handle only a small part of services whatever we have allocated for it. Okay, so in that scenario, whenever there is a change, whatever the component you allocated for this kernel, that program alone you can change. You no need to worry about the other component. By the way, what way you can imagine it, here those components are interlinked and put it to a single program. Here those components can be put it into separate program. Now you can imagine that we have a single program, here have a separate program. Because of that, we rely on microkernel rather than this monolithic kernel. Okay, so now with respect to that, today we will explore more about inside a component available in the microkernel. Okay, so especially with respect to the microkernel, there are 2 components are there. One is the core, another one is the extension. What is the core or what is the extension? This is what general structure, first level understanding of this microkernel. So what is core actually? The core is actually consists of all the microkernel component. It means you can imagine that the index page of the book, and that index page will also have a main information about what are all the functions that could be able to do and what are all the different operation code that has with respect to application. So that information will keep with that. With that, those information will be kept in the core as a functions. Okay, and other than that, what is the extension actually? What is the extensions actually? With that extension, we have a 4 component. Something is called as an internal server, external server, adapter, and client. So what is that internal server, external server, adapter, and client? We will see one by one. First we will complete the core. Okay, what way you can imagine again this? See, all about we cannot visualize, right? This is the abstract concept, but we have to one of the other way imagine how it actually works. If it is a program, where it is connected. If it is a core, what it will have. One of the other way you have to connect it, because then only you can able to recollect. No, okay. Then you can imagine that as the core is a concern, you can think like this is the index page. Okay, with respect to the index page, you have a page number. With respect to the page number, you can see the index itself, there is a difference. The chapters are in bold letter. Sub chapters are in one small color bold. Normal topics are bulletin with number and the 1.2, 1.3 this number. This is what the way the index information will be available in the core. Okay. And with that, with respect to the index information, what about the content available inside the index? That's why we have split it into 4 components: internal server, external server, adapter, and client. Okay, so now that's why those understanding of those extension, here I have used one word extension. No, those extensions are available in that kernel in the layered pattern. Okay, and this facility will give the, just you say for example, plug-in mechanism. It means you can simply type in the document if you are opening. Okay, you can want to type a particular search keyword, or if you directly go for the index page, there you can find which topic you want, you can directly go to the topic. So what literally the index will give you the flexibility to access those components. The same scenario here, the core will have the information about what are all the services that are belongs to, and by going the core you can able to get the information available in it. That's why here I have mentioned, no, the core component include the services, functionality, and mechanism to coordinate and manage the different plugin. Okay, so say for example, you have installed one new hardware device in your computer. Okay, so now those information will be updated in the core. If you want to access the information, somebody is requested, it will go and check with the core, and according to the core, based on the updation, it will directly redirect it to that hardware device. So that core, you can imagine that in the microkernel as the index page of the book. Okay, so now we will see the what are all the connectivity it has. Say for example, the index page, as I told you, there are some headings, main heading, subheading. So what is that main heading? What is a subheading? For our picture, we have a 4 component. So there is something is called as a 2 type of server. We have internal server and external server, and we have a client and adapter. So what is a client? What is adapter? Internal server, external server. You can imagine that. Before that, you can recollect this line. The microkernel provide a small set of a simple hardware abstraction and use the application called server. Okay, so now in this point you can connect there are 2 servers we are using. One is the internal server, another one is the external server. Okay, so what that internal and external server actually having, it will have some functionalities. So now you have to think about, we have an index page. Literally each and every heading, what way we can imagine here? Functionality or functions. Why? Because it is a program. The complete kernel is a program, and the core we have a program, and each and every program will have each and every functions. Those functions only I have split it into 2 components as in under the server name. One server, one set of server I can call it as an internal server, another set of server I can call it as an external server. Okay, by the way, even though we have splitted the services, or even though, because the kernel is having only a limited set of services, inside the limited set of services it has their services put it into a separate server. That server will be generally classified into 2 categories. Now the overall question is what? Those component will be assigned to the kernel is the big portion of operating system or small portion of operating system. With that, we will come to the conclusion is that the minimal part of operating system alone we will run in the kernel. Then what about the other component? That's why you have to recollect the general operating system different managements we have. Okay, so each and every unit we have studied. No, if you go for a process management, there we have one process. So what generally the process management, we have a process communication, and the process communication could be executed over the interaction between the processor, secondary memory, primary memory, and during that interaction, there is something is called as a movement of data from secondary memory to primary memory. And if you want to run the data over the processor, then we have to run it whenever we face that more than one processor we have to handle at the same time. Then we bring the concept of scheduling. We will bring the concept of scheduling. Then we have to think about where we supposed to use the scheduling. For that, again, we have to learn the state diagram of processor. In the state diagram, we have to think about the new ready, those running, waiting, and the terminated stage. In the ready stage, we have to plan for our scheduling. We have a short-term scheduling, long-term scheduling. So why I'm connecting this component? This is actually one service of the operating system. Now we make a big question whether this is one service could be handled by the kernel. Oh, then you can think about the same file system. This could be run in the kernel. Then you can think about that input output management processes that could be executed in the kernel. So for if input and output, then you have to recollect your discussion which you learn from computer organization. There you can take and in what way that input output devices are connected, what way the buses are used here, how signal transmitted over the bus. This is what the way you have to connect it. Because why I have this discussion with respect to this point is currently I am discussing about kernel. The kernel is one of the operating system component. So one of the other way, the kernel, especially the microkernel, will be reserved with the minimum operation of operating system. Means especially this line, minimal part of the operating system means what actually the operating system having. With that, which minimal part I have given. Then if this minimal part is what, and if this is a minimal part, then what are all the other parts, where those other parts are running. This level of clarity you're supposed to have. The same way the last week class, I mean the Monday class was also no. There we had in the discussion of distributed system, where the distributed system we have one component is called as those components are connected with underlying background network. Then I have big questions. What is that network? What is the underlying background network? How generally network works? What is the use of this ISO OSI layer? What is each and every layer work? So this is what the way you can think about it. Because here the idea is very simple. It's a letter of a standalone system connected and a single task not executed with a single system, because the purpose of the connection is splitted and given to all the system to run and get the result. So who will manage this? Who will manage that? That's the information running on the connected system. Okay, if they are managing and producing, it means how it will be done. That's why we have the overall objective of the subject. Okay, so now why I wanted to do this discussion is you want to know what exactly that internal and external servers having. Okay, so now if we come to the internal server, there are some purposes we are using the internal server, especially for a flexibility, portability, and ease of maintenance. What is that flexibility, portability, ease of maintenance? What generally it has? Whenever there is a internal server, then there is other word is called as the external server also. So what way I can connect this? If you go for an internal server, you have an option that just a minute. Just hold for 1 minute. Sorry. Why I have this discussion is I told you in the previous slide the core having the index and the content of the index will be available in the server, where that content I have split it into or put it into two different type of server. One is internal server and another one is external server. Then where those internal servers are available? If you are using internal server, I know that the internal server what having, because just now I told you the internal server having functionality. The functionality will be available in terms of different set of program. And having that program, what are the benefits you have? The first benefit I can call as a flexibility. Second benefit is called as a portability. Third one is the ease of maintenance. Why do we get this benefit? Okay, so anyhow, it is one functionality. You can think about any functionality, because many time I have repeated the different management will be there. With that, you can take any one functionality. Okay, so if you have those functionality will be available sometime in the same computer or the distributed network. Otherwise, if you think about the external server, then you can think about the handling of the content not directly by you, because the next two components in the diagram you can think, there are clients who are requested for some services. The services can be provided by the third party. Then the third party have a control to update those information, and the client can connect it with the server through some device, or is called as an adapter. Okay, again the adapter is an optional one for this microkernel. And as of this external servers is a constant, even it could be monitored by this. What we can imagine is these services will be controlled by them and updated by them, and these services will be available in their index, but not controlled by, I mean, not updated by them. Okay, that's why in the external server you can see there is an interface of backend system. Okay, and as the microkernel, each and every content which is available, it will update their business logic according to the content available in it. Okay, and the different version of the system also available in the external server. Okay, so it will be run with a separate processor. It means for a given request. Okay, so for a given request, these you can imagine that these are all the server, or these are all the services. You can imagine that the primary services which will be available in the computer. These are all the services. You can imagine that the services accessed via computer but not available in the computer. But overall, it could be managed by this underlying microkernel only. Okay, so now what way you can imagine, say for example, there is a resource, cloud resource, and there is a cloud resource, and you are doing some remote access, and you are accessing your own computer, I mean your own printer, and you are accessing some memory which is available inside the computer. Those access will be taken care by this control with the help of the implemented code available in the internal server. And those cloud storage and other remote access facility could be handled still by the kernel, but those resources are not physically available here. But even to access those resources, the functionality will be available in the core only. Okay, but where they have to keep those functionality? Anyhow, I wanted to access the cloud through the system. Those functionality will be available in the external server. Okay, that's why whenever the user, you can see here, whenever the user, okay, will create any request to access internal as well as external. Okay, so that could be handled with the intermediate device is called as adapter. Okay, so that adapter will, if there is any interaction with the client to external server, it will be directly forwarded to the external server. And the same in, so first point, whenever the client is requested for some resources available inside the computer, that will be forwarded to the core through adapter, and that information will be accessed through the core. Now the two scenario you can understand this, the client can able to request the external server as well as the internal server. Okay, and that both could be done with the help of one intermediate component is called as adapter. Now you may ask, what is adapter? Okay, the client is associated with only one external server. The communication between the client and external server was done through the adapter, or we will call it as the middleware or the application programming interface of the system. Okay, so what is the purpose of this? It will forward the client request with a high complexity. Okay, and it will act as the interface, and it has to get the response from the server and give it back to the client. Now, is this adapter is a mandatory component or optional component? Even as you can see the many microkernel, the adapter is the optional component. Okay, and even the client can directly interact with the external server, and it can also directly report it to the core, and the client even directly interact with the interact with the internal server through the core. Okay, so that's why this system is available here. Then what you can finally understand from the picture is we have a set of internal resources and external resources. You have a set of internal resources, external resources. Now imagine that. Where do you have those resources? Those resources available in the computer. By the way, through the computer, the external resources, you may be connected through internet, through the internal resources, which is physically connected with the computer. Now, if you want to make one request will be received by the computer, then the computer will have something is called as the operating system will be available in the purpose of the operating system to interact with your application and the hardware. By the way, that will be handled with the one portion of the operating system is called as a kernel that will have a collections of program. Now that kernel will be loaded into your RAM. Whenever if you make a request, that will be loaded into your primary memory or main memory or RAM, that request will be forwarded to the kernel. Now the kernel with respect to the microkernel will have a core and server component. So once the client request has been come through the adapter or without adapter, it will check with the core and confirm that which type of services they want. So those services will be divided in their two portions. One is in the internal server, that is the resources available attached with the computer, and also external server, which is far away from the computer through connected network. So accordingly, based on the request, it will get the decision that whether they wanted to connect this client with these external servers or internal servers. Okay, to do the connection, what is the primary task they're supposed to do? That will be available in the kernel component. So this is what the overall discussion of this kernel. Again, I'll tell you, you cannot directly access these component. You have an intermediate application programming interface, or we will call it as a middleware, or we will call it as a translator to do this action. That translator is the operating system. Especially the translation could be executed with one important component of the operating system is called as a kernel. So where actually the kernel, especially this microkernel is used? Yes, operating system. That's what we have discussed. Financial services, those specific applications, IoT environment, databases, especially this integrated development environment. If you want to explore this, you can explore very easily this integrated development environment. Why? Because whenever if you have typing a Python program, if you are using your Jupyter notebook, then the Jupyter notebook you have been created with a separate kernel. So whatever the code you have written, that will be run over this kernel space, and that interpreter will execute the task. Whenever there is a problem with that kernel space, you can destroy that kernel space and you can create the new kernel space. So again, that kernel will be used in the IDE also, integrated development environment. Okay, so different text editor and web browser are the applications of this kernel. So what way you can imagine it? Very simple. There is a textbook, there is an index page, that is kernel. Okay, how important the index page is? If you think about the textbook is a 10,000 pages of book, Definitely, the index page is very, very important. That's why you can even type it anywhere. The word kernel in the Google. Immediately, you will get one important word is the core and important component of operating system is the kernel and it is the program. Why? Because in the 10,000 page, the index is very, very important to access the or he redirected the component available inside the book. The same way the kernel plays the role in the operating system. Okay, so don't think that we have very small kind of task we are performing in that. Definitely, we have a lot of interactions. Okay, so if you are saying that the microkernel will dealing with this process and the rest of the process are available in the other component, okay, fine. So whenever there is a change, only the task which you are assigning with the microkernel, that alone we will change, and it will not affect the whole operating system. Two advantages. Then what actually the problem with the microkernel, that is in this slide. But before that, why we are using the microkernel, I have given the justification. Whenever there is an update or small changes, okay, this is with respect to one Google product, we have to change the changes in the entire kernel space. So why it's so? Because the monolithic kernel will be designed like that, right? The monolithic kernel designed like that. Why monolithic kernel? Because all the operating system components are put into the single kernel space. The memory management will be taken care by them, resource management, input output management, file system, everything managed by that monolithic kernel only. Whenever there is update, you have to change it. Okay. That is a problem. You are thinking that, that's why you are planning to move microkernel. If you are not accepting the update, if you are using the old system, then definitely not an issue. Whenever if there is an update, you wanted to accept it, then you have to rewrite it. Otherwise, you no need to worry about it. Okay, that's why we have some statistics. Even if you are not updating your received iPhone features, so next 5 years it won't there is any problem. The same scenario for Android also. But we need the current facility in our system, then the monolithic kernel is not the option. Okay, so we have to divide the component and put it into a separate portion, then only the handling is easy. Okay, why? Because another problem is in the monolithic kernel, whenever there is a small component error, if you are not resolving it, it will totally vanish the complete kernel portion. Okay, so that's why we split it into the component and reduce the kernel space. It means that the more responsibility of the kernel we have reduced, and the other responsibility are put it into separate component. Okay, and the way you have think about the microkernel with the monolithic kernel, see here, the 1,000 times smaller than monolithic kernel. Which one? Microkernel. Because the facility we have split into different components, the responsibility of the microkernel we have reduced. But as you can see, the system failure, big issue, and whenever there is a not updating, we will get not a very updated or betterment or flexible system. That and all I can accept. Because of that, we are removing the microkernel. But in the microkernel, what actually is there any problem? Definitely there is one important problem is addressed. That is, if you think about the monolithic kernel, all the components are available in the kernel space itself. By the way, whenever there is an interaction with one process to other process, it is very easy because everything available in the single space. But whenever there is an updation with one space, that has to be reflected all over the scenario. That is what the plus and minus I have observed from the monolithic kernel. But if you think about that microkernel, each and everything is a separate component. So this is one component, this is one component, this is one component, this is one component, this is one component. Whenever there is an update, you can do the update here itself, no problem. But the interaction which will made here in the monolithic kernel from one process to other process is easy when you are comparing that process communications in the microkernel, because everything is a separate component. Okay, that's why it leads to many inter-process communication. Why it is inter-process? Because previously in the monolithic kernel, all the component available in the single workspace, then the interaction between the one process to other process I can call it as a intra communication, because everything comes in the one scenario. Between that we have an interaction, then it is the intra process communication. But you can look at this scenario, this is a separate component, this is a separate component, this is a separate component, this is a separate component. That's why in the ISO OSI I have justify the word is called as a inter. Inter means international, two different national connected, no, international. Same way, two different processes are connected, inter process. Yes, definitely, because the services whatever here it has will be split into no in the microkernel, no. So definitely we have a lot of inter-process communications that leads to complexity. Then look about think about this diagram and this diagram. There are 100 component. We put it into 100 component into different responsibility system. Then think about that complexity also. Then the scalability. Think about the core. The core, as I told you, whenever there is a book consists of 200 pages, fine. Then accordingly we will get some 1 page of index. We think about 20,000 as a page number, then the core size also increased. No? But the extension is very easy. We are added more component and put it that information to the core. But if you are doing that, how efficient it will handle the scalability? That is a big question mark. Okay, so this is what the two important advantages and disadvantages could be addressed in this component. Then again, why do we have this discussion? There should be a proper link, no? Why do we have this discussion? Because right now we are in the discussion of connecting independent component in the basic underlying network. This is what I will call as a distributed system. Here I have discussed this underlying network separately. Here I have discussed if the more than one process are there, I will call it as a multiprocessor, how it could be executed. These things I have discussed. Now, if I take a single system, how that system alone will take care of a single process in their computer itself. Why I have this discussion? Because next I have a discussion is called as a remote method invocation. If these two systems want to interact, say for example, as I told you, there is a request, could be put it all over the system and that could be monitored. By the way, if it will request for this or it will request for this and the response will be shared, these, I mean request will be shared between these two, they are responding. Then how the kernel interaction will happen from here to here, that discussion is the next level. Before I am doing that, first the kernel will execute the task available in their computer itself, I want to know. Then I have to discuss about these two components. That's why they have built the subject to know the proper connectivity. I hope you can see the unit number 1 also we have a proper connectivity, distributed system model, microprocessor and basic underlying network. So these are all the link. Now this is the network perspective, top level. Now we have to go process level. That's why we started with the microkernel. Then the interaction between the two systems, how it will be happened. And if you are running the distributed application among the connected system, how it will be run. So this is what the way the discussion of second unit carries. Okay. So with that, I'll conclude the discussion for today's class. Okay. And I will get back to you next week with the discussion of next topic is called as a remote method invocation. Okay. And before I can come to that, and I have a plan to take leave on Monday because I'm just moving my things from my native to here. So, Balamogan, we have a class on Monday 10 to 10:50. So, if it is possible for Monday alone, you can give me a chance to reschedule my class. Okay. And once I settled here everything, then I'll be on schedule to handle the classes. So, can you please inform me the rescheduling of Monday morning classes alone?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Then I hope yesterday, as per your request, I have created the Google Classroom and I have shared all the Unit 1 PPT and I have requested for all the 10 students. Have you received those requests?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the complete Unit 1 PPT is uploaded over there. And once I complete Unit 2, I will upload the same in the same Google Classroom. And meanwhile, the next week we have that surprise test. I mean, the surprise activity in between the class that we will do from next class. Okay.
Okay,
So with
sir.
that, I'll conclude the discussion of today's class. I'll get back to you next week. Thank you. You can leave now.
Thank you, sir.
ஹலோ கோபினா மைக் ஆன் பண்ற. வேணுட்டே நாய்ஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணாலே.
என்னடா
ஏதோ நாய்ஸ் கிரியேட் பண்ணுவாங்க.
ஃப்ரீ ஃபேட்டிக் ஜாயின் பண்ண மாட்டியா? ஃப்ரீ ஃபேட்டிக் ஜாயின் பண்ண மாட்டியா?
ஏய்
என்ன பண்ணுவான்னு தெரியல.
பாரத் பண்ணுவையா?
கோபி போயிட்டான்.
பாரத்
போருக்கு தானா? ஓகே ஓகே.
340
போறதா? போறதா அவர் ஜாயின் பண்ண சொன்னாரு.
அப்படியா? ஓ சரி ஓகே.
எதுக்குடா ஜாயின் பண்ண சொல்றாரு? சப்மிட் மட்டும் பண்ண சொல்றாரு ப்ரோகிராம். ஏதாவது கிறிஸ்லாம் வச்சா அந்த குரூப்ல போடுங்க. அந்த
கிறிஸ்டெல்லாம் வைக்க மாட்டாருன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்டா.
பாய் பாய்.
பை.